And I'm like, I don't want chaos. I don't want this. You happy, then the next day you mad, then you happy, you mad. It's always something.
So, what's gonna happen? What do you see?
I need rest. I need reprieve. I need rest. I don't care what nobody says. You know me. Just like you didn't want me to care what anybody said about you. Every day they saying something about him. Every day, every single day.
You don't feel like he got you?
After almost 2 decades of loyalty, sacrifice, and silence, Yandy Smith finally speaks the words that shake the entire love and hip-hop universe. She's done fighting to keep her marriage with Mendeecees Harris alive. This is not a reunion stage moment, not a brand shoot with makeup and lights, and not one of those polished smiles fans are used to seeing. This is Yandy Smith, stripped down to her rawest truth, sitting across from her cousin Keisha, her shoulders heavy, her voice trembling, and her heart breaking. For the first time in 19 years, the woman fans once called unshakable admits that she might not have the strength to hold this marriage together any longer. I don't want chaos. I don't want this back and forth. Yandy Smith begins, her voice cracking in a way that even makes Keisha lean closer, almost afraid of what's coming next. One day Mendeecees Harris is happy, the next day Mendeecees Harris is angry. Every moment feels like a storm waiting to hit. So what happens now? Where is this going? The room shifts instantly. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, Yandy Smith isn't protecting her husband. She isn't defending her image. She isn't carrying the narrative. She is exhausted, fragile, and openly admitting that the weight of loving Mendeecees Harris has finally broken her spirit. For years, Yandy Smith has been called the pillar of strength on Love and hip-hop. When Mendeecees Harris was incarcerated, it was Yandy Smith who carried the children, the house, and the family name. When online gossip tore her character, it was Yandy Smith who smiled through the pain. When his children's mothers came at her with accusations, it was Yandy Smith who faced it all with composure. But tonight, that same woman whispers the unthinkable: I need rest. I need peace. I don't care what anybody says. I don't have any fight left. Those words cut through the air like thunder, rattling Keisha and leaving the audience in silence. Keisha tries to guide the conversation, bringing up the family dinner with Miss Judy, Mendeecees Harris' mother. Yandy Smith nods, but her tone sharpens, her eyes turning cold. The dinner with Judy was fine. It was the moment with Mendeecees Harris that broke me. And then the flood begins. Yandy Smith recalls something as small as sipping from his water bottle. And
I met a lady, her and her husband. They live in very wealthy, very.
I didn't take it on purpose.
Oh,
Hey, go ahead, take it. He want to argue about everything. All of us, we were good. All these vlog things started happening, and now he want to argue about what? It's simple as this.
Listen, Ma, tell your story.
That was a prime example.
What happened?
And I had a year ago, you would not have had a problem with me sipping on your water.
Okay.
Now, because bloggers is in your ear, you got a problem that I took your water. That's the problem that I have. Sorry, Mom.
And how Mendeecees Harris chose that exact moment to embarrass her in front of his mother. Yo, you drinking my water? He said, in front of his mom, while I was mid-sentence. And I'm thinking, is that really a problem? Is that what we've come to? Keisha shakes her head, stunned, but Yandy Smith isn't finished. She lays out the pattern. How Mendeecees Harris will eat from her plate without hesitation. But if Yandy Smith takes even a sip from his drink, it becomes a public issue. To outsiders, it may sound small, but to Yandy Smith, those small cracks represent a bigger fracture.
Acting like we good, but it manifests that we not good in so many other ways. It's like, I was drinking a water, it was his water. He like, yo, you drinking my water? In the middle of my conversation with his mother, I'm like, is that a problem when I drunk your water? And he's like, nah,
Normally it's okay.
He'll take his whole fork and dig in my plate. But it's stuff like that shows me like, you have a problem.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want chaos. I don't want this, you happy, then the next day you mad, then you happy, you mad. It's always something.
So, what's gonna happen? What do you see?
I need rest. I need reprieve. I need rest. I don't care what nobody says. You know me. Just like you didn't want me to care what anybody said about you. Every day they saying something about him. Every day, every single day.
You don't feel like he got you?
A lack of respect, a lack of care, a lack of reciprocity. Her voice grows heavier as the pain spills out. Every single day, people talk about Mendeecees Harris, about us, about me. And through it all, I defended him. But now I don't even feel like Mendeecees Harris defends me. The silence after that sentence is suffocating. This is the same man Yandy Smith held down during his prison time. The same man she defended against endless rumors. The same man she built a family and a brand with. And yet here she is, confessing that she feels alone in her own marriage. Keisha, almost desperate. asks if Yandy Smith is willing to sit down and fight for this relationship, but Yandy Smith shakes her head slowly, her eyes brimming with tears. No, I'm not fighting. I've done all the fighting. If this marriage matters, then this time Mendeecees Harris has to fight for me. That moment lands like a blade. For 19 years, Yandy Smith has fought, defended, carried, and endured. And now she admits she wants something so simple, for Mendeecees Harris to show up for her, the way she has always shown up for him. Her voice cracks as she says, "Is it too much to want him to say, 'Let me take care of her. Let me make sure she's whole'?" The silence that follows is unbearable. Keisha has no words. The audience has no words. For once, even Yandy Smith seems shaken by her own honesty.
Oh, no. Do you think he'll be willing to sit down and have this conversation about what you need in order for this relationship, this union, to survive? Will you fight for this marriage? No. I'm not fighting. I'm tired of fighting. I'm going to pray and hope that this time he wants to fight for this. I want him to show up for me how I showed up for him. Is it that he says, let me make sure she's okay.
Right.
Let me take her away. Let me take her out of this because I got to make sure she's whole and she's good.
And that's nothing that any partner would not want. That right there.
And that's what I'm
feel
questioning.
safe.
Like, what's really going on with you? And I just feel like this is making me question, like, who am I with? What do you want?
Because this is not the loud, dramatic shouting match that fans expect from reality TV. This is worse. This is the quiet, suffocating truth of a woman who has given everything and is realizing she may never get the same. In return, her voice trembles, breaking again under the weight of truth, and the vulnerability cuts deeper than any reunion argument ever could. This isn't Yandy Smith performing for the cameras. This isn't a love and hip-hop storyline written for drama. This is Yandy Smith stripped down to her core, broken, tired, and whispering the kind of honesty that leaves even her own cousin frozen in place. The weight of her confession crashes into Keisha like a tidal wave. Keisha's eyes water as she stares at her cousin. The same cousin she once admired as a definition of strength. Now Keisha sits in silence, her voice stolen. Because what she is hearing isn't about petty spats or temporary fights. This is Yandy Smith questioning the foundation of her marriage, questioning the value of her sacrifices, and questioning her future with Mendeecees Harris. As the silence thickens, Yandy Smith whispers it again, almost chanting like a mantra that carries pain in every syllable. "I don't have any more fight left." The repetition is haunting. It doesn't just echo in the living room. It echoes through the memories of every fan who has watched Yandy Smith fight for love, fight for respect, fight for family, fight for survival. And now, the cliffhanger sharpens like a knife. Will Mendeecees Harris finally step up and fight for her? Or is this the moment where one of reality TV's most iconic love stories begins its collapse? Keisha sits frozen, her hand pressed against her chest, watching her cousin unravel in front of her eyes. For years, Yandy Smith was a calm in every storm, the anchor of the Harris family. But now, Yandy Smith is the one falling apart, the one reaching the edge of her strength. "I've done my best, Keisha," Yandy Smith says, her voice trembling but her eyes steady. 19 years, almost 2 decades of me carrying this. From the very first day I met Mendeecees Harris, I poured everything I had into making sure we survived. When Mendeecees Harris was locked behind bars, I carried his name like it was armor. When people laughed at me, when they called me foolish for staying, I ignored it all. I fought because I believed in us. But now I'm starting to wonder, did Mendeecees Harris ever believe in me the way I believed in him? That admission makes Keisha's head drop into her hands. The air in the room shifts like a cold wind. Keisha, who once thought of her cousin as the blueprint of loyalty, is now seeing the cracks up close. This isn't exhaustion anymore. This is heartbreak. This is collapse. Yandy Smith leans forward, her voice softer but sharper than a blade. "I don't even recognize myself anymore. Keisha." I wake up and I wonder, who am I with? Who is this man I gave everything to, but who can't give me the same energy when I need it most? I used to think love was enough, but love without support, love without care, love without peace, that's not love. That's punishment. And I'm done being punished. Her words land like grenades. Keisha shakes her head, whispering, "But Yandy, if you stop fighting, what happens to your family? What happens to the marriage?" And then comes a final warning, clear, calm, and devastating. Yandy Smith looks her cousin straight in the eyes, her tears burning trails down her cheeks. What happens next? Either Mendeecees Harris fights for me, or Mendeecees Harris loses me, because I don't have any more strength left. If Mendeecees Harris wants this marriage, if Mendeecees Harris wants this family, if Mendeecees Harris wants me, he has to prove it. And if he doesn't, then I can't keep sacrificing myself for a man who won't sacrifice for me. Her voice shakes, but her gaze doesn't break. This isn't an angry threat. This isn't reality TV acting. This is a raw declaration of a woman at the end of her endurance. Keisha's own voice cracks as she whispers, "I just can't believe I'm hearing this from you, cousin. You've always been the strong one. You've always been the one holding everything together. Holding everything together." But Yandy Smith shakes her head, her tears glistening. "That's the problem, Keisha. I've always been the strong one. And being strong has cost me everything. I've given so much of myself that there's barely anything left. And when I finally need someone to be strong for me, I look around, and I'm alone." The intensity deepens as Yandy Smith revisits the years she carried their world on her back. The nights she stayed awake crying while Mendeecees Harris was gone. The mornings she put on a brave face for the kids even though her chest felt hollow. The countless times she walked into public spaces, smiling for cameras while drowning in private pain. Do you know what that does to a woman, Keisha? To give and give and give, and when you finally need someone to hold you, there's no one there. That's not partnership. That's not marriage. That's a prison sentence. Keisha reaches for her hand again, but Yandy Smith pulls back. Not in anger, but in defiance. She wants her words to stand tall without comfort. "I can't keep living like this. I can't keep fighting for scraps of love. I've fought enough. I've sacrificed enough. And if the world paints me as a villain for choosing peace, then so be it. I'd rather be called a villain for saving myself than a martyr who dies slowly in pain." Her voice grows heavier as she lays out the imbalance that has haunted her for years. It's always about waiting. Waiting for Mendeecees Harris to come home. Waiting for Mendeecees Harris to change. Waiting for Mendeecees Harris to finally see me. But how much longer can Yandy Smith wait before she disappears completely? My children deserve a mother who is whole. My soul deserves rest. And if Mendeecees Harris cannot give me that, then I will give it to myself. The silence that follows is chilling. It feels like a funeral service for the marriage. A farewell to the love story that once looked untouchable. Keisha wipes her tears, whispering, "So, is this really it? Are you saying it's over?" Yandy Smith doesn't scream. She doesn't collapse. She shakes her head slowly and calmly. "I'm not saying it's over. I'm saying I'm done fighting. If Mendeecees Harris wants this, he has to fight for me now. If he doesn't, then maybe it's already been over, and I've just been too afraid to face it." Her words sting not because they are shouted in anger, but because they are whispered in resignation. This is a quiet before the storm. A storm that may not end with reconciliation, but with separation. Tears stream down Yandy Smith's face, exhaustion etched into her soul. And yet, just faintly, there is a flicker of hope. A fragile, almost broken hope that maybe, just maybe, Mendeecees Harris will rise before it's too late. But even that hope feels like it's fading, slipping away as she repeats herself with finality. "I don't want to fight anymore. Not for him, not for this marriage, not for opinions, not for image. I want peace. And if Mendeecees Harris can't give me peace, then Mendeecees Harris cannot have me." And that's where the screen freezes, not on resolution, but on the cliffhanger sharp enough to slice through every viewer's chest. The tears are real. The pain is undeniable. The exhaustion is absolute. For the first time in love and hip-hop history, one of its strongest women has admitted she's ready to let go. And the only question echoing across every timeline, every living room, every fan's mind, will Mendeecees Harris finally fight for Yandy Smith? Or has a final chapter of their love story already been written?